I'm Andrew Phillips and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to fix or patch a cracked or chipped bathtub or shower. So let's go ahead and get started. Here's what we're looking at here. If you come here, we have these two chips right here. What had happened is that this piece here, the actual this chrome part, shot off at one time and hit here and chipped it. So that's what we're going to be patching. Now, in order to complete this task, all I'm using is this gel coat fiberglass tub and shower repair kit. And this is pretty much, it gives you a professional result just in minutes. You can pick this up over the counter, Lowe's, Home Depot, kind of those home improvement type places, fairly inexpensive. I'll put the information along the bottom here in case you want to pick it up. But this kit includes pretty much everything you need. So you have the wet sanding piece, you have the actual resin and everything to patch it and finish it. What I do recommend is you may need a little bit of a little X-Acto knife or a screwdriver or file, because in some cases, and we're going to take a look in a minute, if the damage is not deep enough, you want to kind of scrape it out a little bit to get it to about a 1/16 of an inch deep in order for this kind of a patch repair kit to work properly. So you might need a tool like that if your chip, as in the case with mine, is not that deep. But other than that, this is all you'll need in order to complete this and have things looking the way it needs to and in perfect shape. I'm going to start by scraping these out a little bit to get them to about 1/16 of a depth. So I'm just going to take this X-Acto knife here, but you can use a screwdriver, even sandpaper, depending what you're dealing with. And then what we'll do then is we'll come back and clean up any dust or residue that's left behind. We're wrapping it up now. Got a good depth here to it. Did this one here as well. So what we'll do is just kind of clean all this out of here, and then we'll be back, and then we can start getting ready to filling it. I went ahead and cleaned all the dust, so now what we're going to do is take a little alcohol wipe and just kind of wipe the area real good, clean it real good. And if you're using one of the kits like I am, it'll come with that. If not, you can just purchase these pretty much anywhere. And then we'll let this dry. Next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be mixing the gel coat and liquid hardener. Now keep in mind, once you mix that, you've only got about 15 to 20 minutes work time. So you got to kind of have everything ready to go before you start. Now to mix that is all going to be based on what kind of damage you're dealing with in your tub or shower. For this one here, we don't have a lot, so I'm not going to be getting a lot of this out of here, but they do recommend getting half the container of the liquid gel, but that's if you're dealing with a big patch. I'm not going to waste all that. And then based on how much you remove of that to apply will determine how much of the liquid hardener that you're going to use. So in this case here, I'm going to take enough, probably just to kind of cover this tip of this mixing stick right here, and then we'll add probably about 3 to 4 drops of liquid hardener, mix it up real good, and then we'll start applying it into those chips that we've already cleaned out. So let's go ahead and start doing that. And one thing to keep in mind, actually, it's not a bad idea to use gloves and a respirator to do that. Since I'm doing just a quick job, I'm not using that, but normally you want to use a mask if you're going to be fooling with this for a while, and it's not a bad idea to have gloves so you don't get it on your skin. Like I said, since this is just a quick thing I'm doing, I'm just going to go ahead and mix it, apply it, and then I'm out of the room anyway. So. And we'll use just a piece of cardboard here to mix it on. So I think for the job I'm working on, this right here is going to be enough to fill everything. So we can go ahead and seal this. And we're going to add about 3 to 4 drops. Let me just kind of get everything here. I'll do one more. And then we'll mix it. And as I already mentioned, you only have about 15 to 20 minutes before this stuff starts hardening. So I'm going to mix this up and then we'll be down in the tub itself to apply it. I put one more. I don't know if all the drops actually landed in there. I think some of it went on the cardboard, so I just want to make sure. We're going to apply it, and you want to slightly overfill it because we're going to come back afterwards and we are going to sand it. There we go. Slightly overfill it. And then now we're going to take this end here. I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of clean it like that. So we're going to apply this on here, and then we'll be back to look at it before we let it dry. I just wrapped everything up. There's one here, the other one's here. They're already looking good, and we haven't even done anything with it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to let them dry now. We're going to wait now about 3 hours or until it properly hardens, and then we'll be back to start the wet sanding process and then start the finishing and then wrap this up. But as you saw already, it's already looking good. So we'll be back in about 3 hours to resume and then wrap this up. It's been about 3.5 hours since we applied that filler and the hardener. Everything is looking good, and I'm going to get a close up here if you want to check it out. Here's one here, and here's the other one. They actually turned out really good. You can see though, there definitely needs some sanding to level them down. So now that that's done, the next step we're going to do is we're going to take 400 grit sandpaper and we're going to sand it down to level it with the rest of the tub. Once that's done, then we'll move up to the 600 grit sandpaper for the final sanding before we polish it. So let's go ahead and get started with that. We have the wet sandpaper. We're going to take it. And we're really trying to get rid of any lumps or anything that is keeping it above the level where it needs to be, so we can sand that down nicely. So I'm going to work on these and then we'll be back to see how it looks and then move on to the 600 grit. Everything is sanded down with the 400, and you can see here, I mean, you can't even notice it. But what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the 600 grit to really get it nice and smooth, and then we'll polish it. Everything is nice and level and smooth. What I'm going to do, I'm going to rinse this off, dry it, and then we'll get the polish out, polish it real good, and see how it looks. Next, we're going to go ahead and use this fiberglass polish. We're going to apply it here to the areas that we're done. Polish it real good. And then once this dries, then we'll go ahead and we'll buff it real good by hand. And that should wrap this up. Everything is polished. And I'll get a better shot closer, but you can see it looks perfect. You can't see anything here. Everything has been polished real good. It was in this area and looking good. Right in this area here is where it was. So I move across there. Might be able to see a little bit, but for the most part, I mean, I have it right up close with the flash on so you can see everything. But if we pull further back, I'll show you again. If we work our way this way, there's no evidence of any damage that was ever here. Looks good. Okay, well that pretty much wraps up this video on how to fix any damage, cracks, chips, things like that in your bathtub or shower. I hope this video was informative for you. I hope it helped you out. Please send me any questions, any comments. I would love to hear from you. As always, I appreciate all the support. So please like this video and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.